This is Charles again. I wanted to follow up with my first video, Introduction to Valiant Realty. In it, I discussed 3 key points to management. The 3 things I think that are the most important. Everything's important, but these 3 things make what we do better, and it makes things run more smoothly. And number 1 is communication. That's obvious. Management's not a 9-to-5 job. Never has been. Never will be. A lot of companies like to work from 9 to 5. Our hours are from 9 to 5, but if you're an owner or a tenant, you can contact us anytime. Work orders, work requests tend to happen Thursday evenings, Saturday mornings, Sunday afternoons. If there are emergencies, we will get to them as quickly as possible. A lot of our vendors will put us at the front of the line because we've been working with them for so long. But if it's not, we will do what we need to do to get the issue addressed at the beginning of the next week, if it's on the weekend or the following day. So that type of communication is important. Addressing owners' needs, requests, as well as tenants' needs, requests. A lot of times it's a simple phone call, text, email, looking something up, things like that. So with communication, that's obvious. I see oftentimes, again, a lot of the new owners that we bring on who've dealt with management companies before, like our ability to communicate with them and speed with which we do so. Also, it keeps people happy. Respond to someone that day if possible, because there's no reason not to, and there's no, nowadays with cell phones and emails, everything's instantaneous. So there's really no reason not to get back to somebody quickly. That being said, the second part of it is record keeping and accounting. We have an accounting, bookkeeping person with the company. They do a great job, but we make sure and save every email, pertinent email from an owner, from a tenant. Every work order, every invoice is in our owner's our owner's owner portal. Every request is in the tenant portal. And we want to make sure and record everything diligently with regards to repairs, when rent is received for the tenants and for the owner. So that one I'll just briefly touch on. It's pretty self-explanatory. You need to keep good records for any business that you do. And third, probably my favorite, which makes our job the easiest, is qualifying prospects. A lot of companies will take your application and run it, or take a tenant's application, prospect's application, and run it immediately. We don't do that. We have a pretty thorough conversation with the prospect. We have a list of questions that we ask them, 7 questions, to try to get a feel for, who we're dealing with, and if they're going to qualify for the property itself. So we do this so we don't waste our time or waste their time. The last thing we want to do is spend a few hours showing one of our rentals to a prospect only to find out they're not going to pass our screening. Now it happens, and we will do it if necessary. A lot of times prospects don't know if they're qualified or not, and that's just part of the business. But we can generally get a pretty good understanding of the applicant prior to even showing them the property. So our qualifications compared to a lot of the other companies in Jacksonville are a little bit higher. We want to make sure your property is rented consistently. We don't want to deal with evictions. We don't want to have to fight to get the rent. And a lot of times there's a direct correlation to approved applicants and how hard our job is. So instead of having to deal with issues all throughout the tenancy or at the end of the tenancy or with an eviction, let's go ahead and be very thorough and very accurate on our qualifying. We have a national background, national criminal, national eviction, income needs to meet certain criteria, as well as the criminal side to it. So we take that very seriously, and we don't just run an application because you submit it to us or because a tenant submits it to us. So again, there are several things with management that are very important, but I tend to think that communicating with owners and tenants and vendors is extremely important. Record keeping, accounting is extremely important, as well as qualifying the prospects that become tenants. If we do those three things well, everything else tends to fall into place. Now, there are unpredictable circumstances always with property management. Dealing with a few today that I've never dealt with before, but that's part of the business. And if you have the record keeping, accounting, lines of communication, in place, those things tend to smooth out the more difficult issues that we deal with. So that's the conclusion to Intro to Valiant Realty and Management that I began yesterday. I'll be posting videos periodically with regards to Valiant and property management itself. So thank you very much.